Ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely fired up to have today's guest on the show. This gentleman worked in the finance industry and worked for a couple startups before joining one of the quickest growing companies in the crypto space. This fella is currently the VP of Business Development and Partnerships at BlockFi, a crypto asset service that pairs financial products with institutional quality benefits. BlockFi has also received unicorn status and is currently valued north of $3 billion US. Humble brag. I'm very pleased to welcome to the Cryptonews podcast, Shayne Mullen. Shayne, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt.
Great to have you on. We were just chatting before, and you are a South Carolina boy currently living the life in New York City.
New York is on fire right now. It is 100% back. I'm telling my fiance, I think we need to start making the trip up here at least once a month. And it's also just electric being back in the office, right? Like we have a pretty big office down on Broadway. We've outgrown it, so we need a new one. But I haven't met any of my coworkers, right, since I started in June of last year. And just being in a room, with my existing team, being out in the, grabbing some water and having a conversation with, a founder or head of finance, wherever it is. It's just amazing. It's something that I'm really excited to get back into the swing of things once, we continue on.
I love that. Speaking of New York, the Pomp meetup. I know Pomp is one of the bigger investors in BlockFi. He's also probably your biggest spokesman and promo boy. Mind you, he's done a great job and he has a very prominent following. But I want to talk about the Bitcoin pizza launch last week. I had a friend and actually a co-worker, Richard Levin, VP of Sales at Cryptonews and at Bonjour Bitcoin on Twitter. He was there and he said that there was like a 2-hour wait just to shake Pomp's hand and say what up to the guys. Like, is he an A-list celeb now? What's the deal with him? Have you met him yet?
I've never met him in person. We've had tons of conversations over Zoom. I mean, look, the guy is amazing at what he does. He's incredibly smart. He's a sponge of knowledge. He's able to communicate very complex topics with very, simple ways of discussion. He's been and has learned, over the course of time, just how to really build a brand online. And he knows how to go viral, and he knows what things, make people interested and what get people out of the woodwork. So he's been an absolute incredible investor, partner, mentor, guide, right, to all things BlockFi. I can't say enough about how great Pomp has been, to the success of this business.
That's awesome. I haven't met the guy yet, hopefully in the near future. But
although I did hear, Matt, that the pizza was like a 3 out of 10. So
I heard that too.
Maybe he's got to find a new pizza distributor.
Where was Portnoy with that?
Right. Exactly. Get the Portnoy pizza review of Pomp's Bitcoin pizza party. It's kind of a mouthful.
And that is, and those guys go at it on Twitter all the time too, because they were chirping, El Presidente for having those paper hands, and that would have been an absolute treat. Him just shredding his pizza to pieces. It did not look appealing at all. That was that looks subpar at the best. But I want to jump into BlockFi, and I want you to start by. I guess we'll start by talking about the company and give us a quick, 30-second to 1 minute elevator pitch of everything BlockFi does.
Sure. So, for those who are not familiar, BlockFi is a financial services platform for the crypto investor, right? So we offer a web and mobile desktop experience to customers all over the world where you're able to earn yield, borrow, trade, and our new product Pay, which is coming out in a couple of weeks with cryptocurrency or earn cryptocurrency in the form of rewards on the Pay side. Really exciting platform, an area and niche that we've been playing in for the past 4 years. Not a lot of businesses that offer a similar type of value that we do, and we believe through safety, security, trust, through really good products and bringing, financial services to the crypto investor to market, right? We can help a lot of people both existing in the system and who are looking to get into crypto really benefit over the long period of time. So the company, we've grown. I think you said it earlier. 10x in the past 12 months. We've raised a bunch of rounds of funding. We've probably 10x'd our employee base, and we've just continued to build products that our customers are looking for and our customers are asking. So it's been a really exciting ride.
A couple of the products and services that are most intriguing to not only myself, but sort of everyone listening and just the general public. The interest and APY is huge, and we'll get into that now. Another one is the credit card, which I'm still on the wait list waiting for that. Hopefully you can give me a little podcast bump on that one. That'd be a treat. But for those at home on the wait list, there's got to be, 100,000 people on here. I probably won't be getting that till like 2030, but I'm joking. On the APY, now, if I were to explain this to my parents or my grandma or just anyone who might be a little older and who has dealt with traditional banking their whole lives, and they see a BlockFi ad that goes earn up to 10% APY, which is 10% interest on your crypto, they're like, okay, this must be a scam. This is way too good to be true. Getting 10%. Most people are like, if I can get 10% return on my investing portfolio, I'm dancing and romancing. That's absolutely incredible. And then there's BlockFi guaranteeing 10%. Walk me through that pitch and what do you guys actually do with those funds in order to guarantee 10% back to the user?
Yeah, for sure. So look, I think there's a bunch of things that you need to understand, right, to really grab hold of that 10% number. We actually joked internally a couple months back, if we change the rate to 4%, would we get better adoption, right? Because it just makes so much more sense. But we can actually pay and fundamentally do to, hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis, 10%, or our 10% rate right now is promotional, but it's 8.6% on stable coins. So I think the first couple things you need to understand is, what is a stable coin? Right. So at the most basic level, right, a stable coin is a blockchain issued dollar, right? So different entities that exist within the crypto ecosystem like Gemini, Circle, Paxos have issued stable coins within these blockchain environments. And then we at BlockFi use them very similar to the way that a company would use cash, right? Or USD. So when you're theoretically, or when you open an account on BlockFi and you're depositing your USD or transferring USD funds onto the platform, what we're doing is we are going to convert that into stablecoin, and you're going to have a stablecoin balance within the BlockFi interest account. Now that's as soon as you deposit or transfer those funds onto the platform, you start earning interest, right? 8.6%. What we're doing with those funds is in turn going out to an institutional market, right? Of hedge funds, family offices, endowments, some insurance, some banks, some real money players who are looking to borrow dollars from BlockFi. And we are lending them those dollars for interest rates that are slightly higher than the interest rate we're paying to you, Matt, or to, someone, in your family who has a BlockFi account. The difference in kind of BlockFi and that traditional model, which is very similar to the way that a bank operates, is that, there is no FDIC insurance on the account. That being said, you're being compensated for risk up to 8.6% for, the lending activities that you're taking with BlockFi. And you can withdraw at any time and you can move money in and out as you feel or as you wish. So we think it is the most compelling savings tool or savings vehicle that, people should have at least some exposure, if not, a large bit of exposure to.
So what do you tell to those, I'll use my parents, for example, again, who are very intelligent people, but would definitely, bat their eye at something like this because, again, it seems too good to be true. How do you go about pitching them on this?
For me, when I'm talking to someone in that particular seat, the best way to explain it is just using something that's relevant to what they've done before, right? So using like relevant, incredible scenarios that would help them understand exactly how this operates. For example, when you open a bank account, you deposit your cash into that account. If you open a savings account, the bank actually pays you 1% interest, right? Or 80 basis points or 60 basis points annualized, really low rates. What the bank is fundamentally doing is using the cash deposits that sit within that account, and they are lending them out to in other areas of the bank for a yield that makes more than 80 basis points or 1% on your money. The bank makes what's called the net interest margin, right? Which is the revenue that they generate from the spread or the difference in what they're lending and what they're paying to you, right? The saver. And then you theoretically have a IOU or a set of funds that you can withdraw or move at any time. And the bank has a large set of reserves that you are able to pull and draw from at any time so that they can manage, withdrawals and things of that frequency. What we're doing at BlockFi is relatively similar, except your denominated currency is not fiat, it's stablecoin. And we are lending to institutional investors who are typically collateralizing their position with crypto. So an institutional investor, for example, who wants to borrow $50 million of USD and has $100 million of Bitcoin, they can't go to JP Morgan and say, hey, JP Morgan, here's my Bitcoin. Can you guys use that as collateral and issue me a loan? Right? JP Morgan has no idea how to underwrite that particular asset. Maybe they will in the future, but today they have no idea. BlockFi does, and we've been doing it for a very long time, and we're the best in the business that does it. So we can provide the fastest execution, the best rates, and the largest ticket size of borrowing, USD borrowing to that particular institution. Therefore, right, we can pay and we can support scale on our interest accounts to pay out that 8.6% yield that I mentioned earlier. So the second part is a little bit more, I wouldn't say confusing, but more complex than the first part. But if you understand the fundamentals of how a bank operates and makes money, you could understand like the fundamentals of how a company like BlockFi does within the crypto ecosystem.
Well, that's a very good explanation. Thank you for that. Very, very clear and concise. Now, again, the 8.6 is a very appealing number. And, you can leave money in, you can leave USDT, aka Tether, in your account, stablecoins in your account, and make easy money. That is one of BlockFi's premier products. I also want to talk about the credit card. Now, the credit card is very transformational. That is literally trailblazing a space. You have companies that rack up, gazillions of points on their Amex, on their Visa, on their MasterCards every single year. You also have individuals who can do that. Tell me about the pros of using the BlockFi credit card, which is coming out shortly.
Yeah, I love that word. Transformative. This card really is the first of its kind. Nothing out there exists in this capacity. And we're really excited to be, trailblazing and pioneering a completely new category of card and card reward. There's kind of two elements or two things I like to touch on with the card in particular. First, to give you, before I get into either of those things, to give you an idea of the card and its, benefits. Going to be issuing cards hopefully this summer, enrolling people off the wait list. It's a Visa-backed, no annual fee, no foreign transaction fee card that earns you 1.5% back in Bitcoin on all purchases. We'll also have a 3.5% back on the first 90 days of spend with a cap of $100 and a couple other benefits associated with being a BlockFi customer, a trading bonus, a refer a friend bonus, and a stablecoin bonus. Particular folks who are interested in the card, in my opinion, are kind of two buckets, two categories. One are folks who really love the crypto market, Bitcoin, et cetera, and want to just stack as many sats as they possibly can. Personally, I got the card last week. I haven't stopped using it. I haven't stopped spending it. I haven't stopped showing it to people. And all I want is to just I'm even tipping more because all I want is to get as much sats back because I care so much about the future value of the asset of Bitcoin and where it's going to go and how it's going to, transform society, et cetera. So I want to stack as much as I can. For others, though, which is a pretty large population as well, this card is an incredibly simple and easy, low touch and low friction way to become an investor in the crypto industry, right? All you need to do is apply for the card, and then spend, and you're automatically getting rewards that are landing in your BlockFi account that are automatically being just moved in there on a daily basis, right? So you don't have to necessarily go to Coinbase or BlockFi or Gemini, open an account, move money in, buy spot Bitcoin, etc. You just can go to Starbucks and swipe your card, and all of a sudden you're a crypto investor, right? That is a very compelling value prop, in my opinion, for folks who are maybe a little bit hesitant to jump into the space, want to participate in a small capacity, maybe get their feet wet. And then I always say too, once you jump in and once you get your feet wet, you're going to care a little bit more and read a little bit more and take your time to understand exactly what it is that you're investing in. It's a great way to help with just that general adoption and then hopeful education on a go-forward basis.
I love the part about the ease of getting into the crypto space and the ease of becoming an investor, which leads me to my next question. What do you think, and now mind you, that is definitely one of them, but what do you think are some of the biggest catalysts, those sort of last dominoes to fall in order to get the masses into the crypto industry? Things like the BlockFi credit card really move the needle. You have Lolly, who's doing incredible work in the space as well. It seems like everyone loves rewards. Whenever you can get free Bitcoin with almost next to no KYC and none of the nitty gritty, like you talked about, onboarding fiat onto a crypto exchange or platform, and then buying Bitcoin on spot, or if you want to dabble a little further and have some risk, go futures, whatever the case may be. It's definitely not easy, but buying a coffee at Starbucks and getting a couple sats is. Besides that, what other sort of big things or catalysts do you think can really increase crypto mass adoption?
Yeah, it's a great question. Something I'm pretty passionate about is just, in my opinion, the general lack of education within the cryptocurrency space today. I think there is the availability for, whether it's video, written, or some other form of, general, easy to understand, small tidbit, small bite, quick lessons, etc., on the basics, right? Like, what is a blockchain, right? What is mining, right? What is cryptocurrency? What are a stable coin? What are the risks? All of these things, I think, can be broken down in a really simplistic way. And if told by the right people or group of people or delivery mechanism, can really help invite more of the general population into the space and give them the tools they need, as well as the assurances they need that what they're doing, they're totally understand and they totally have a good grip on, the components of this particular industry, right? Crypto is not if you're not a native crypto person, it is not the easiest thing to understand, right? It can be confusing. It can be relatively challenging to comprehend some of these topics. But I do think in the right method and the right educational setting, these topics can be told and taught in a simplistic way where more people can understand. And I think the more companies like BlockFi and others, right, that have the venue and the audience and the size and scale to educate in a really good way, will be massive for this industry. And we here are going to be launching some stuff in the coming weeks that are specifically focused on, educational content and educational videos.
I love that. Just want to take a quick break and give a big shout out to our sponsor of the show, CoinPoker. You guys have heard me talk about them many times before. I absolutely love CoinPoker. They are the revolutionary blockchain technology-based platform that was developed by an incredible team of poker lovers and sports gamblers. CoinPoker uses USDT as the main in-game currency and CHP as in-game fuel. You've heard me talk about this many times too. CHP is almost like a stable coin. They've done an incredible job and have kept its ground during the crypto crash of a couple of weeks ago. CoinPoker also features instant and secure transactions using USDT, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or CHP tokens. One of my favorite parts is no KYC. You literally sign up, it takes 2 minutes, and you are dancing and romancing. You're up and running, and you can start using the platform to play different types of poker, or you can even use the sports betting app, which I myself am a big fan of. Whenever I'm on the go, I can whip out my phone, play a couple games of Texas Hold'em, or bet on sports Playoff season is upon us as well. Hockey and basketball has already started. Baseball is just getting into the nitty gritty. Champions League final, some incredible stuff coming up, and you can do all of this on the CoinPoker app. Head on over to coinpoker.com, give them a try. I love these guys. I think you will too. Appreciate that. And heading back to the show, Shayne, quick little segue there. Are you a poker fan or sports bettor at all? I know you're a golfer. You ever throw sprinkle a couple bucks on the field?
Yeah, play some skins here and there. I'm not a big poker guy. Zach, our CEO, actually was a huge poker guy back in the day. Yeah, I dipped my toes in some of that stuff back in about 2 years ago, and I don't have the patience for it, unfortunately. But,
I love that.
Yeah, but it was like I used to play poker in high school and with some buddies, and I would always lose and buy back in, and then I realized that I just don't have what it takes to go all the way. So I've stayed away, but it's fun, and we have some partners in that space that we love to work with.
It's definitely not for everyone. You spoke about being a golfer, especially from South Carolina, one of the best golfing spots on the planet. If you don't mind me asking, what's your handicap right now?
So right now I'm a 12.
Not bad.
Not
it's
bad.
Pretty darn good.
I should be an 8, honestly, but I'm only really getting out there once a month.
Well, if you're only getting out once a month, and if you're still at 12, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's funny. When's the last time you had a lesson? Have you had a golf lesson anytime recently?
Oh God, probably since I was 8 years old.
Right. So same. And 2 months ago, I went to this guy David Ayers down in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and I got a lesson for an hour. And the amount of stuff that he taught me and just told me about before I even swung the club was just insane. I was like, I'm doing so many things that are just not standard or correct that over the years I've thought were accurate. And just those little tweaks alone, just approaching the ball, where my hands are, grip, all that stuff has dropped my score or my handicap by, 3 or 4 points. It's been incredible.
What's the nicest track you've ever played?
I'm going to sound like a dick on this one, but I actually got a chance to play Augusta National.
Come on.
Yeah, I did.
Come on. How, I got goosebumps from you just telling me that.
So a friend of mine, her dad is a member. And when I was a senior in college, I was working as a bellman at a hotel, and they needed me to work on a holiday weekend. So my family ended up spending the holidays the following, the weekend before. And so I had one day off over that holiday weekend, which was a Sunday. And yeah, my friend's dad had asked if I wanted to drive down to Augusta from Charleston, which is a 2-hour drive, and went down and played the 9-hole course, had lunch, played the 18-hole course, came back in, had some drinks. It was just an unbelievable experience. Like nothing will ever, I think, top that for me in terms of, golf experiences.
Is it as nice as it looks on the TV?
Yeah, it's nicer. I mean, the entire thing, the entire course is a mowed fairway, right? So there's rough, and then the rough is just mowed flat into the trees. It is just an absolute beautiful place. And when I was on the first tee, there were a handful of members up watching us. I remember just being so shaky when I got up to the ball, because I was like, if you spray this ball on the first tee of Augusta, you will never forget that experience for the rest of your life. And thank God I ended up hitting it in the fairway and, shook off some of the scaries. But yeah, what an experience.
That's so cool. One of the cooler stories you've had on the pod, that's a dream come true. I think that's any golfer's dream come true, and you got to do that. So that is absolutely incredible. Keeping on the sports side for a second, any sponsorships coming up with BlockFi? I feel like you guys are ripe and at the perfect time to sponsor with some incredible sports organizations around the world.
Yeah, it's a really good question. We are certainly in the midst of conversations with some either teams and or leagues, and more specifically athletes. There are tons of athletes that have been interested in the crypto space, more specifically even clients of BlockFi, right? Because we have a private client business. And so there's going to be something that we do probably in the coming months. But right now we're in our discovery phase.
You can't give me anything?
It will be a famous athlete.
That's all. What sport? Give me something.
Who? That's all I can give you for now.
That's all you can give me. Okay.
I'm
waiting a couple years down the road for who knows, maybe it's the Carolina Hurricanes or something. I think right now I want to say it's PNC Arena, maybe the Hurricanes, but you guys buy out the name rights of some huge sports stadium, whether that's an arena, football stadium, baseball diamond, whatever the case may be. But that would be incredibly cool. One thing I want to talk about, and I know a lot of people are very curious about this. You saw this all over Twitter, all over the news, but a couple of weeks ago, I guess that would have been last week, but for those at home, it was the week of May 18th when sort of the crypto crash occurred. Mind you, we always say it's a crash, but it's really just sort of knocking out everyone who's 100 times leveraged, and it's great for the crypto family as a whole. But BlockFi had I guess we can call it a mini shit show, and accidentally gave full Bitcoin to some of its users when you shouldn't have rather. Again, crazy situation. No one actually knows what happened unless they were on the inside. You, fortunately, were on the inside, and I'd love to hear the true story of what happened.
Look, people make mistakes. We're all humans. There was a promotional payout. We typically pay Gemini USD promotional payouts, which is just $1 to $1 on the second Friday of each month, and the GUSD instead was BTC denominated. So, if you were getting 50 Gemini USD, you got 50 Bitcoin. That was the issue. That's what happened. About 100 people were affected. Most of the money we've recovered. Everybody that we work with, to be totally frank, are incredibly good people and just loyal to the BlockFi Nation. So we really didn't have any issue or trouble with any conversations on that front. But look, this industry is scaling really quickly, right? And I think making sure that you're focusing on things like, risk assessment and risk process and, building a business that can withstand speed and scale is really important. I think for everybody at the company, it's definitely a bit of a wake-up call and just hey, it's time to continue to deepen the track of focus on making sure our practices and our risk assessment and our risk management is up to par, right? With the likes of major banks that we'll be competing against in the short term. So you hate to see it. It's totally and utterly unfortunate, and I feel bad for all parties involved, right? It sucks, but we'll be stronger from it on a go forward basis.
But when you say you feel bad for everyone involved, of course, it's a much bigger mistake on your end than it is for the client who accidentally may have received 50 Bitcoin instead of 50 US dollars. But you said everyone obliged and everyone was pretty straightforward about it. Do you have any funny stories about maybe one guy who, cashed out and took the private jet and is now on a yacht in the middle of the ocean?
No, unfortunately, no stories. But, look, at the end of the day, people internal, people external, our client base, the media, the public, everyone that's been, following this thing. It happened. It was an accident. It won't happen again. But yeah, other than that, there's just, steps we can take to make sure we focus on remediation and risk management. And there will be some, good announcements on that front in the coming months.
I'd love to hear that. I want to move forward and talk about the founders, Zach and Flory. They get incredible praise on Twitter. I've heard and listened to many podcasts where BlockFi employees or themselves have been on. It seems like, these two in particular are the creme de la creme of founders and C-suite employees. I'd love if you could just touch on some of their strengths and how they've impacted you and the company.
Yeah, it's a really good question, and love chatting on this topic because both of them are just so strong in so many different areas. Zach actually was my my boss back in 2014 to 2016. So I had the pleasure of working for him directly in a sales capacity. He is a very tenacious, incredible salesman, very smart, very driven, thinks, into the future, but he's also humble, right? And he's also, sticks to his roots, and he's able to take very complex, like Pomp, he's able to take very complex topics, understand them very in-depthly, and then, be able to make decisions on the fly that help, our business make the right decisions on a go-forward basis. It's a very unique skill, and Zach embodies it better than anybody else. Flory has all of those skills as well, and she is just an absolute leader, right? She is somebody that I look up to in terms of, a young female founder in New York creating a multi-billion-dollar business, with a vision that really is to help include and bring as many different types of people into the financial ecosystem as humanly possible. And every time and everything she does, right, embodies that mission and that statement to its core. So look, the two of them combined is, a 1-2 punch. It's a pleasure being able to, hear them discuss, future iterated or just initiatives of the company, as well as just address things to, the employees when either external factors or internal factors, need addressing. So they're great. And I just actually saw Flory. She's in the office today for the first time probably in 4 years, I would say.
Wow.
We all used to work. When Zach and I worked in the alternative lending space, Flory also had worked at a similar company in our space. And funny enough, when Zach was starting BlockFi, Flory actually pinged me and asked me to be a reference check to see if Zach would be a good founder. So I had to get on the phone with Flory and basically tell her, what was it like working for Zach? And what were some of his strengths? What are some of his weaknesses? So I told her straight up, Zach would be an incredible founder to work with. He's going to build really big, important, and impactful things one day. And now I'm here working for the company and on a podcast talking about it. It's pretty insane, to be honest.
That's hilarious. I also saw you gave him a nice little LinkedIn bump, nice little LinkedIn recommendation. I don't know if you remember that. I think that was back in 2016. I was doing a little research for the show and saw that. I was like, he's just pumping his boss's tires.
No, yeah, we go way back. I mean, I define it as kind of fintech 1.0. Back in 2014, 2013, maybe even like a year before that, 2012, the first kind of online fintech companies emerged, right? So you had Lending Club and Prosper, Funding Circle, Avant, SoFi, right? These guys created the ability for a consumer, a business, a student, right, a doctor, et cetera, to apply for a loan online. So no more going into a bank branch, brick and mortar. And that was really the start to this entire fintech phenomenon that we're experiencing today, which spans much broader past the lending sphere, but now into the investing sphere, the neobanking sphere, insurance, right? And then crypto, amongst, there's a bunch of other things, obviously, that's happening. But it's been really wild to see because, I started my career at Bloomberg, which arguably is one of the largest and oldest fintechs on planet Earth. And, just seeing the innovation and just the amount of money pour in and the venture and the new businesses that have come out because of this. And, where my old colleagues now work, I think 5 of them are CEOs. One of them is a partner at QED, Matt Burton, from our Orchard days. It's just incredible to see. So I don't know, who knows where the next 5 years will take us.
It's crazy how timing works. You're in the right spot at the right place and, work your tail off and the rest takes care of itself. Just really cool story. Thank you for sharing that. I want to go back and talk about how much BlockFi has grown. I understand that BlockFi has 10x'd in the last 12 months, which is absolutely insane. And you've done that while, almost fully working remotely. To the companies that are looking to grow as quickly as you and the team did, do you have any tidbits of advice or any sort of golden nuggets in regards to growing in this new remote and digital world?
It's a really good question. And we have certainly seen growth that I think very, very few companies have seen over this, kind of pandemic / remote environment, just in sheer volume of revenue and people. Look, the first thing I'll say is that our products have incredible market fit, right? So if you're a crypto investor and you want to earn yield, we're the best place for you to go and do that. You want to then collateralize some of your crypto and take out a USD denominated loan, we're the best place to do that. And we have the easiest, safest, and best tools for that solution, right? You want to trade in and out of different currencies on the platform as well, right? We have the lowest fees on trading side. And now, if you want to pay with credit and you want to earn Bitcoin, we have that product as well. So product market fit, number one, incredible. The second thing I would say is that consistency is, and just general kind of persistence is like very important when you're a growing company with a lot of people working remote. So in my world, the way that I kind of approach our team, and this is like something that a lot of different teams approach within the organization is, I have the same meeting 3 days a week, and I have the same meeting on Thursday afternoon and the same meeting Monday morning. And that meeting, the agenda, it's always the same. And we make sure we hit our goals. We have our deadlines. We move on. We hit our goals. We have our deadlines. We move on.
Right.
We plan, we look back, and we stick to that method, and we just keep building and keep growing and keep getting bigger. It has been one of the most, it's just been really great to see, every single team meeting that I've been a part of for the last 12 months, company-wide, whether we're 100 people or 800 people, has been the same format, the same tone, the same cadence. It's just, we're bigger. The numbers are bigger. It's right. And there's obviously a lot more involved in what's happening, but keep it consistent. That's one piece of feedback that I would urge any founder to just keep in the back of their minds when they're trying to scale a business, during this kind of remote era that we live in today.
What about company culture and your tech stack? Like, are you guys using the traditional Zoom meetings for sort of communication, for video calls, Slack for internal comms, G Suite for everything else, maybe Canva for design? Like, can you tell me as much as you possibly can without maybe, divulging some of the BlockFi secrets about your company culture and tech stack that has really helped 10x move the needle?
Yeah, I mean, look, company culture is obviously really important. And I think one of the, company culture comes from, and this sounds like cliche, but it comes from the people you hire, right? So if the people that Zach has hired in the beginning and Flory had hired in the beginning, right, their culture is going to hire people with similar culture. Those people are going to hire people with similar culture. And then as long as you can continue to create an element of consistency across that type of culture, right, and a set of values to follow, then you're going to be able to create healthy, collaborative, transparent environments to get your work done on time going forward. So, I think it's interesting, this world we live in of back-to-back Zoom meetings every half hour, right? I know you, Matt, and myself, and probably thousands of people or whoever's listening to this podcast probably have, 10 to 12, if not a little bit less than that, meetings on a daily basis. And I think part of it's great because you can accomplish so much in such a shorter amount of time because you have only a finite amount or finite window to discuss, right, what needs to be done, i.e. it's a little bit more regimented, there's a little bit more structure, and then there's usually an output to that structure after that 30-minute call. But then also being in the office today, I've been able to talk to so many people I haven't been able to communicate with. I'm learning about where people live and what things they like to do and who they are as a person, which can get lost, right? And when you're on Zoom calls all day, right? That stuff doesn't typically, sometimes it doesn't typically come out unless you make it a point to. So, we try and have tons of different events where, you don't talk about work. It's a happy hour. It's a cooking class. It's a cheese plate course. It's whatever it is. And then, once we get back to the kind of non-remote life, as many in-person kind of team building activities as you can, just to further understand who the people are that you're actually working with and what they like. I think all those things are incredibly important.
Well said. And you're bang on about the Zoom fatigue. It's definitely something real.
Yeah.
Shayne, this has been incredible. A couple more questions before we wrap up here. We'll get into the rapid fire good stuff here. When do you think Bitcoin's going to hit 100K?
Hopefully sooner than later.
Give me a month.
100K. I'm going to say earlier next year.
Earlier next year. Okay. Who do you think Satoshi is?
Who is Satoshi? It's a really good question. I don't necessarily know, but the wackiest answer I've heard by far is that Satoshi is actually from the future.
What?
And
how does
people
walk
in
me
the
through
future,
that?
people in the future were able to send information back in time through data, and they sent the white paper back to help fix the financial services ecosystem that had been broken in the future.
So you just think, so you're a la Elon Musk, we're living in a simulation.
We're living in a simulation, some part of it. Who do you think it is?
I have no clue. I'd say Hal Finney and Co. is probably one of the best bets. But like
Hal Finney would be my number one, I think.
I'm pretty sure he was the first transaction on the Lightning Network, on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's like, it would make most sense. Mind you, I have no experience in software development, but every software developer I've spoken with, and especially in the crypto/blockchain ecosystem, they're like, you A/B test everything. And what's the first thing? Who are you going to test it on first? Yourself. No shit. So it makes sense. But then again, like someone who was thinking so far in the future, I feel like it would be sort of bait if he said, I'll test it to myself first. I don't know. Then you have Craig Wright. That guy's a clown. I'd still love to have Craig on the pod. Craig, if you're listening, jump on. We can shred each other for a bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I always ask, and every guest on the show has a very different answer. I like the one from the future. That's awesome. And then I guess my next question, I'll steal Pomp's here just because you and Pomp are boys. Do you believe in aliens?
Absolutely.
100%. Me too.
100% there is extraterrestrial life in this universe, unless we are living in a simulation and, this isn't even real.
There's been a lot of alien news and UFO news in the last couple of months. I'm not some conspiracist, but like the most recent theory of the aliens, being in the ocean, in the abyss, and then just popping out where no human could ever see them unless you're on a container ship in the middle of the ocean. Like, it's not bad,
Yeah. I mean, think about, what is it? Like, we've explored, more in our solar system than we have in the deepest depths of our ocean or something like that. Right. So like, look, the probability of there not being life is just so unbelievably low by sheer volume of how many galaxies and stars and planets exist in this universe. I can't believe there isn't something else out there. It's just a function of like, has any like alien species been able to build technology to travel, right? And get some sort of message out there.
Interesting. I completely agree as well. One last thing. The Twitter handles of BlockFi employees. You have BlockFi Zach. You have Founder Flory. You have BlockFi Shayne. Most of the employees are BlockFi with the exception of Founder Flory, I believe. And I could be wrong there. But who had that idea to start with? I think it's genius. It's so powerful. And the whole brand recognition really goes a long way. And my follow-up to that is, did you guys steal that from Barstool?
Good question. Definitely did not steal it from Barstool. I think it was me. Zach has always had his handle. Me and Bodner and a couple others just thought it would make sense to have BlockFi in front of our names. partially because we want to be recognizable as to who we are within the company, but also like I get tagged all the time with customers who are having issues. And it's actually kind of helpful for them who can just tag me, BlockFi Shayne, BlockFi Bodner, and BlockFi Zach or BlockFi whoever else, because all they type is BlockFi. And then it comes up with 5 different people. They tag all 5 of us, and at least one of us will be able to route them to the right person, right? So it's actually kind of a really beneficial thing on the customer service side. But I will say the blue backgrounds that you see on some people's pages, that was all thanks to our creative director, Dan Hennessy, who's going to be coming out with some really cool credit card ads in the next couple months that I think everyone's going to love.
Nice. I've seen tons of startups who have popped off over the last 12 months. You've seen the funding that's going on as well, especially with the money printer never being turned off. Startups are getting crazy amounts of funding, but so many companies are literally stealing the BlockFi Twitter scheme with the, company name, at company name, then first name. So you guys should definitely get some credit for that. Just wanted to throw that out there. But Shayne, this has been, I had a blast speaking with you. This was lovely. Hopefully, next time I'm in New York City, I'd love to catch around with you. Maybe we can go to Liberty National or something with the city in the background. That would be an absolute treat. But before we let you go, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you and BlockFi on social?
Yep. So first of all, then awesome stuff. Talking about aliens and golf and crypto and, at 1 p.m. on a Thursday, there's nothing better than that. Guys can find me at Twitter, BlockFi Shayne, as mentioned. And then if anybody is interested in opening up a BlockFi account, BlockFi.com, you'll see a sign up button right there. Please get your name on the wait list for the credit card. We've got 300,000 people. We're going to be rolling people off in the summer. We're going to be doing a lot at a time. If you refer your friends, you can get yourself farther up on the wait list. This card is going to be a game changer. It's going to really change the way that people think about crypto and think about credit card rewards. So it's been a pleasure, man. I hope to be on again. And go BlockFi.
Shayne, thanks a lot, man. 100% on again. Hope you had a blast. I certainly did. And we'll keep in touch. We will definitely have you on shortly.
Thanks.
Folks, this was the Cryptonews podcast with Shayne Mullen, VP of Business Development and Partnerships from BlockFi. Definitely go check out BlockFi if you haven't already. We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. I had a blast talking with Shayne, and we will have many incredible guests like Shayne on the show in the future. As always, we drop on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings. We are available on all podcast platforms. If you liked and loved this one, we hope you did. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. It'd mean the world. And we will see you all shortly. Love you, appreciate you, and we'll keep in touch. Everyone, have a good one, and toodaloo.